Hi, I'm Taylor Knighty, and I'm giving this presentation to give you inside strategies of how to give a good business presentation. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you introduce the topic of the presentation. When doing so, you want to make sure that you get your point across. Also, state the purpose of the presentation. What do you want them to remember? What do you want them to do in the future? The next important step is to know your audience. You want to be able to relate to them and be able to maintain their interest throughout the rest of the presentation. The third step is to organize the content of the presentation. Begin by telling them what you are going to say, tell it, and then review what you have just said. This way they know exactly what you are saying. The introduction of the presentation is very important. You really want to grab the attention of the audience. You may want to tell a story or even give a startling fact. This way, the audience is drawn to the presentation from the beginning and they will be interested for the whole thing. The next thing you want to do is establish credibility. You will need to identify yourself and tell all the background information you have on the topic. The third thing is to introduce the topic. When doing this, you want to keep the audience involved. The last thing of the introduction is to give a preview of the main points, so they will know what to expect for the rest of the presentation. When organizing the body is another major step of a business presentation. First off, you want to develop the main points. You want to organize them chronologically, which means from earliest to the most recent. Also, you want them organized from the least important to the most important, and then be able to compare and contrast the main points. The next important part of the body of the presentation is to make transitions. You want to make bridge statements so that one leads to another and it goes smoothly. The main idea of the presentation is to make the whole thing flow well. The conclusion of the presentation needs to wrap the whole thing up. You need to go back to the main points of the presentation. Give a brief overview of what you have already talked about so the audience does not forget the important information. Also, end the presentation with one specific closing thought. Leave the audience with one thing on their minds. Lastly, make a graceful exit. No one wants to watch a presentation with an awkward ending, so make sure that it is planned and everything goes smoothly. Visual aids are also a big part of the presentation. You want to make sure that they are very visible and make sure that they grab the audience's attention, and make sure that they are relevant to the topic. Types of visual aids that you can use are multimedia slides, overhead transparencies, and handouts. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you have all learned a lot of strategies for a good business presentation.